Hi everybody, I'm Nikki from The Leap and I'm here with Glenn, who's VP of Marketing Success and Insights at Meet, and Chelsea, who's Marketing Director at Levin.
Hello.
And this is part 4, I believe, of how to create a killer marketing plan. And today we're going to be talking about demand generation and lead generation. So this is looking at the content piece. So in the last few, we looked at goal setting, we've looked at creating personas, and the last one was on how to choose your channels. And we played our fun little game, which we like, it's like a yes or a no. And now it's moving on to personally my favourite bit, which is you've done all that hard work. A lot of it's background work in terms of your prep. And now it's moving on to actually content creation and hopefully generating that revenue for the business through leads. So the difference between demand gen and lead gen, shall we start there? Glenn, do you want to give us a top level?
You put me on the spot here. I think obviously it's so hard. It's one of those other things with marketing and a part of marketing that I flip and I flop in terms of
Using the actual language as well, because I don't really use demand gen or lead gen much.
Yeah, I suppose other people might consider it brand awareness and then actual content that's going to, bring in candidates and or clients if we're speaking to the recruitment world. I think if you take like the AIDA model, if I go back to the kind of creating that attention, interest, desire and action, is that all types of content that you can create can play a role in each of those areas.
And should as well, actually. Yeah. I think you're absolutely right on that side of things. So you use funnels rather than flywheels? Are you looking at flywheels yet? Just to throw that one out there. I think it's a HubSpot thing, that really tried to popularize it. It's just the argument that saying funnels is obviously thinking about your numbers coming in at the top, that demand gen at the top, moving into lead gen and then moving into like customer acquisition. But the argument against funnels is that you miss, like, anyone who drops out of the side are just forgotten forever. Whereas a flywheel is more focused on strangers, prospects, customers, promoters, and it causes itself to spin, and the friction causes it to go faster, giving the growth. So you don't miss out on people, if that makes sense. But in all honesty, I have no opinion on whether it's better or not yet. We're trying to pitch our messaging a bit more to flywheel, just so that it's helping drive some of this demand gen through the bottom of the funnel, leading to the top of the funnel. It's like creating a path back up to the top, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think, like you said, Glenn, the demand gen is awareness, isn't it? It's top level stuff. When it comes
and constant as well.
Yeah.
Constantly out there, pushing it out there, even though it might not be the sexiest content, if you like that awareness piece. It's the what you do, how you do it, who you've done it with, those messages that you can just keep telling people so they actually know what you do. And I think that's probably, certainly from my experience, we chase the sexy stuff ahead of the game, given this great, fantastic white paper that gives all of this, what you perceive add value. But does that really matter if people don't actually know what you do and you haven't built up the trust that they want to engage with you and actually buy from you as well?
See, I think some of it's funny that you think of it as, did you say the not sexy stuff?
Yeah.
Because I kind of think the awareness bit can be, in a way, more, I find it weird to use the word sexy, to be honest, when it comes to marketing. I mean, I love it, but but like more fun. But then, the lead generation is, there's someone on LinkedIn who talks about this a lot. And it's when you lock all your content down, put gates, like forms, in front of your content for downloads, so you actually generate leads or email addresses, put it that way, from anyone who submits and downloads your content. And I think some companies go all in and gate pretty much everything, but then the argument is, are they missing out on awareness because there's a barrier between them just getting to know the business better, and then others make a case for unlock it all, share it all, but then you're not necessarily gonna optimize every. I mean, how do you do it, Chelsea, at Levin?
It's the same with everything, right? It's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
It's being able to get the balance right with it. We need to be able to bring in enough traffic, but you need to bring in enough relevant traffic. And then you do still need to generate leads that are different levels of warmth, I guess. We try to map out our content into those different, into the AIDA model, I guess, in terms of, at the top awareness, we're thinking about how people are getting to our website. Is it PR as well, including content in this? To the SEO pieces, to hot topics, to those sort of bits. Even LinkedIn Lives can be that awareness piece versus a Zoom webinar where you have to sign up to it is a lead generation piece. They have different reasons for both of them. It depends what the topic is, depends on what the aim of them are, I guess. But yeah, it's a combination of both. I think it feels like we're saying this across everything. It depends.
Yeah,
but it does. It's a combination of both that will, in my opinion, get the most success, because you need to bring in the traffic in order to get the leads.
So how about this for a question then? So depending on the resource, so taking the resources that you've got, what % would you say you put towards demand gen and lead gen content?
That's a tricky question because of how you think about resource. I would say, so for example, any of my generalist brand marketers are writing articles once a week, and then over a quarter we're probably looking at creating one really value add piece of lead, like a lead magnet, that piece of value add content that can we can capture some email addresses from. Again, depending on what that is, annually we'll be updating salary guides, which are obviously very poignant within the recruitment space. But again, it's dependent on your audience. It depends on your market. It depends on all these different things in terms of like what
business is trying
exactly that.
I think Chelsea's spoke in previous sessions into the focus has been on high growth, new candidate acquisition, new client development, new BD, and I think that's probably the case for the majority of people who are watching. And if that's the case in terms of new acquisition, you should be so heavily weighted to the awareness piece. If putting percentages on it, I think potentially 70% of your content that's going out should be targeted to people who you're assuming don't know anything about you or what you do, because that's the very nature of because they're new. They might have a perception of what recruiters do, so you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes and think, well, what can we say that's different about what we do, and stuff. And then I'd be splitting it down. The 20% would be maybe industry specific stuff, blogs, case studies, and those stories to build that trust at the next level. And then that final 10%, I've got my maths right, is I always refer to it as your hang your hat on it type content, what you're famous for. So that might be a podcast, it might be some really chunky white papers, it might be a salary survey. And a lot of people will probably roll their eyes at things like salary surveys because our perception of them is they're boring, they're full of tables, don't really trust it.
No.
The ranges are 30 grand to 70 grand in it. But as a marketer, for that top level content, what it should be, because it's only 10%, it should act as a real central core piece of content that then you continue using once it's done. If you go flywheel, it's used for the awareness. It flips back in and it gets recycled. It's not once done and left. It's kind of
exactly that, and
it's create once and distribute
exactly
forever.
that. And we do use it at different stages of the client journey or the candidate journey. It's something that can be we might have brought someone in who is a hiring manager in one industry for a certain for an engineering team, but actually they haven't seen what the salary guide looks like for the product management team, and actually we can use that as a cross-sell through the sales team. It's how you enable the sales teams as well with the marketing content. It's not just about like marketing versus sales in this. It's how can we also use that content to drive multi-hire clients and things like that. So yeah, it's important to have both. But yeah, exactly that. Especially for us at the moment, we're coming up to 4 years old. We're still very new in the market. We're still super. There is, if you go to, all of these conferences about fintech and you ask them who the number one fintech recruiter in, they're not always. One of them might, because we might come up to a client, but not everyone's going to say Storm 2.
Got a million followers on.
We do have a million followers. Thank you for mentioning that, Glenn. I appreciate that.
So glad to do it yourself. Yeah. I think what you mentioned about gated content and giving stuff away for free, I don't think that's kind of a black and white type thing. If you're confident in the content that you're creating has got a lot of value in it, you can do a bit of both. There's nothing more frustrating for me when I'm asked to put in details in something that I perceive that is going to be really good, and it's a 2-page PDF.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like things like that, like really irritate me.
Yeah.
Just generally. But I think if you're doing a big piece, for example, we're due to release a white paper on women in leadership in life sciences, and Emily, our content writer, it's 8,000 words.
Yeah, blood, sweat, and tears into it.
It includes a survey where 1,500 people have come back to us. Is that we can give away loads for free, build up that trust, and say, look, we've only given you 20% of what we've got, but behind the scenes we've got so much more. Just let us know, you've built up that authority, and I think,
I think that's part of it as well. I think that's part of using demand gen and lead gen together, because having little snippets of articles that are going out there that are pumped full of your SEO terms and all those sort of things that are saying throughout it, click here to download the full report. It's giving away a little bit of it without, and then using that lead gen piece to kind of be like, okay, you're actually capturing the right traffic because they've found you. They are the right ones that you want to be targeting. And then you're saying, for those who are super engaged, who are the ones that you want to actually use as a lead? Because I think that's the other piece here. Yeah. It's like just having a lead magnet that you get an email from, where does that then go? How are you then using that as a lead? Is it something that you're then sending it directly to a recruiter and be like, hey, you've just downloaded a sector report that is not very hiring focused. It's quite high up on the AIDA funnel, I guess. But it is lots of research gone into it. That's not, let's jump on a call and discuss your hiring needs. That's not
you don't know why they
exactly
that.
You need to kind of understand what lead generation, what that lead is at that point, like being able to score it or being able to nurture it through to something that is a bit more relevant.
Back in the day, in my Faden days, I made that schoolboy error of we did an industry insights campaign. We were generating loads of downloads, and I was so proud of the fact I'd set up all the leads to go directly to sales. And then I was so disheartened when they weren't following up. But it was just, how many years ago now? Again, I don't want to work it out. A long time ago. Yeah, lots of years ago. And just that learning, I always remember that, because like you say, it's not a lead. But them telling me that literally broke my heart at the time. But it was, so what do you do then? So they come in, so like, what does your process look like?
We are in the midst of trying to go through some sort of more processes to try and automate some of this, and to try and also just switch it up at the moment, because we pump out a lot of content. I've got 15 generalist marketers that are producing an article every single week, and then some sort of heavy paper once a quarter. So we are very much in the process of trying to figure out how that comes into how it's really good, basically, and it's not just spamming people with weekly emails saying, hey, now do this, now download this. Currently we try to, the lead gen or the lead magnet pieces, the bigger, heftier pieces, we have tried to kind of literally using the AIDA model, kind of said, okay, if it's something that's super down the bottom, that is something that will get sent to our commercial team for a sort of a softer reach out. If it's something that's right at the top, that's not something that's sent directly to them. they get put into a lead nurturing campaign where they'll get sent a series of 7 emails, and only if they get to the bottom of that funnel and they've clicked something that is a lot more warm, basically scoring them, they reach a certain score, that's when they get sent to the commercial team. That's at the moment how we're seeing how that works. It will depend on what it is. We're trying to, not just go super down the automation route, because we want it to be human, we want it to be relevant. But it's also, some of this is tech costs, right? How does it also interact with our CRM, and how does it also interact if, one of our consultants has also sent them a BD email in between that process? There's so many things to think about, but this is the really key thing about understanding your customer journey, understanding the problems that they have, and then creating your content for that, rather than creating content and just hoping it fits into a customer journey somewhere.
It's hard to know, isn't it, as well? When do you class them as a warm? It's like, what is, is it clicks, or is
what's
it...
a qualified lead, and what's just what's a bite?
It's tricky, isn't it? How do you do it, Glenn?
So similar way to Chelsea. I think it is just taking a breath and being comfortable as a marketer. You're not going to get those results straight away, and you haven't promised it to the sales team. I think we all work in that ridiculously fast-paced environments where people want results. In some cases we live on a month-by-month basis in terms of results like that, and the reality is that good marketing takes time to work, and I think you have to focus on a quality over quantity side of things, and that does mean that you are going to get a lot of out of offices. You'll get bounce backs. You'll get unsubscribes. But you've got to kind of feel comfortable with that. Think of people unsubscribing or not coming back to you as well. We don't want to work with them anyway, especially if you're confident from a marketing perspective that the content you're sending out is adding value. It's not spam based. Obviously, we can't impact to a certain degree in-mails and emails and mail shots that might be happening at a sales point of view, but I think you just have to be confident as a marketer that everything you're sending is with the view to add value to your audience. You're not doing it from we want something from you, and then kind of whatever comes out the other side is a positive in that sense. But I'll take the same approach as Chelsea, really. Kind of that drip, nurturing, added value stuff, not really asking for anything. The other approach where it probably gets a little bit more personal when it comes to demand generation, where we probably go, we look quite broad a lot of the time, is, I don't know, we mentioned it might have been episode 1, like identifying your ideal client or whatever that might be.
Your favourite, your buy personas.
That
you love.
But taking like a real account-based management approach, like that's something that we're trying to do in terms of going quite personal and working with the sales teams to really identify what a good client looks like, what's their behaviours and traits, what's important to them. To even the point with, if I use the example of this white paper that's coming out, is like, well, which clients on this list can we see from their website and from what their people are saying on LinkedIn? The whole women in leadership is an important cause to them. We're going to be really personal, really direct, sending stuff out to them, and that's both awareness and kind of the demand gen there.
What are the teams for you, in your business, that would be doing that sort of research around that? Is that sitting with
it's sitting with me. I think I appreciate I'm very privileged with that, but with a data analyst sitting on my team and a success person, Callum and Mina, it just means they can really interrogate. It's their job to interrogate and myth bust sometimes, because you can go to sales teams, they go, oh, we haven't worked with this client because of this, or no, these going to be a really good client. But when you get sometimes into the numbers in terms of, well, look at the effort we've put in here to make 100,000. If we put in a lot less effort with clients with these particular traits, we make much more money. So we build up that list. We speak to the consultants, and then kind of left left to it. It's a big trust thing. It's like, sales guy, are you okay? Just us going away and communicating it. We're not going to talk about technical recruitment. We're not going to ask for CVs or have you got any jobs on at the moment. Just trust that this thing
trust
comes.
the process.
And you know, when we're confident that we can hand over something that's going to make you have a much more meaningful conversation, then here you go.
Yeah.
Take us out for a beer after.
Yeah. So would you say, because obviously being an agency, we have a lot of chats with different companies, and I'm so surprised at how many really think that the idea of marketing generating leads for a recruitment business is almost like fiction. They just don't think. I mean, what are your thoughts to that?
It's true, 100% true. I think we all kind of have those challenges. I think it's just a legacy thing from the world of recruitment. I think consultants generally, when people are hired, certainly in some of the probably the larger companies, and when we've come from larger companies like we have, is that we've looked to hire people who are very entrepreneurial and build their own business. So through no fault of their own, that they think that means generating all of the business themselves, and maybe there's a slight, I don't need that, you know, this is my job, I can get on with it. But equally, I think there's a lot more of a trend maybe with people who have then gone away and started their own business, probably even, you know, something kind of within the Levin Group, for example, is like, well, we see the value in marketing being beyond maybe doing kind of internal comms,
right?
and doing leaderboards and, you know, shouting about, you know, how great we are from a culture perspective. It's acquisition. And, you know, as Chelsea said, I mean, you know, how many marketers have got in the team to help drive that?
Yeah. 21. No, but it's exactly that. Yeah, 100%. But I can totally understand how that is a mindset of a lot of leads, like recruitment business leaders, because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we can't do our job without the sales team, because we can't close leads. Like, they can do their job without us because they can be outbound. Like, it's just, that's just recruitment. Like, if people aren't happy with that, that's go to an agency, go to a product tech business where you are the sales team. But like, that's not like, if it's I get how frustrating it is. I've been in businesses where it's you feel like you're hitting your head against a brick wall with that. There are lots of businesses that aren't like that. There are lots of recruitment businesses that aren't like that, in terms of they do see the value of, and how do you do that? You prove it. You prove it by bringing in very high quality leads and showing that it's not just, well, even if it is just candidates that you're focused on as a marketing team, make sure that you're speaking sales when you're doing that. Make sure you're not just speaking in marketing terms. I speak heavy marketing terms when I'm talking to the marketing team, full sales when I'm talking to the board, because that's the way. And then every so often we'll just shout out about followers, because they do like the numbers. You know, they do like the big numbers anyway. So yeah, it's a frustration. I totally understand anyone who's in a business like that it might feel like that, but it isn't always. And there is also ways to bring them round as well. It's not like you're not just locked into that if that is the case. It's quite old school recruitment, isn't it?
It depends on the model, and I think probably since COVID, there's been a little bit of a shift. Whereas, you know, how we've grown up in recruitment, it was always so 360 based. So you know, consultants were trained to do absolutely everything. There's more and more businesses now that, you know, are moving towards that 180 type model, and in those businesses is marketing in theory should be much higher up in terms of bringing
definitely. Yeah. We're also super lucky, right? We're in a 360 business, but we're working with grads. Like, they politely don't know what they don't know. So if I turn around and say, this is how we work, this is what marketing do, then they're like, cool. So I'm in a very lucky business for that.
Yeah, I think there's a few things to look out for as well. Like, when I have chats to whether it's the founder or a marketing leader, or sometimes it's a single marketing person in a company, and they say they're not generating any leads. often it's one look at their website and there's nowhere really for them to convert.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, you're not, because there's no opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, on like the Levin site, you've got the submit a vacancy. Like, people can actually.
I mean, that's the thing, and it's for us, that is a big thing about conversion rate optimization, of having multiple conversion points.
Yeah, different
It's
points.
exactly that. Again, like using the AIDA model, right? It's literally being able to figure out a conversion point for every single warmness of that funnel.
I think the quicker you can, as a marketer, in terms of proving your worth, the quicker you can put in the processes to be able to track activity and attribute NFI to your efforts, the better. Don't kind of moan about that you're not able to do it because, you know, this doesn't integrate with this and that. There's always ways.
There's always ways, which is perfect for our next episode, guys. So tune in for that. Great segue.
Yeah. I think that probably does bring us to a close with this topic. So as an example, this is quite a nice example. So at the Leap, we create what we call like a pillar piece of content. So this is like the pillar piece, and then we use this as a spin-off. So you'll see to create spin-off pieces. So we'll have blog content on this subject where we'll then link to this video of this live stream. And then when we look, our lead conversion bit is a download. So we're going to be giving you the content plan download that we use for content planning, and that's our lead capture bit. So that's how you can do it. So we focus on, so this is how I do it, we focus on this bit first, create the pillar piece, we then do the spin-off pieces that will also form like social content that then, so we almost start at the bottom, like where do we want people to convert, and we work it back when we're creating content. And then in the next episode, we're going to be talking about how to measure and report back on those results. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time. Catch you later.